Dear Mr. President, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, once again, welcome to Azerbaijan. I'm very glad to see you again. President of Iraq visited us earlier this year during the summit of non-aligned movement. And during our meeting, I invited Mr. President to pay an official visit to Azerbaijan. I'm very grateful that my invitation was accepted and the President is our guest. I'm sure that the visit will contribute to the strengthening of friendly relations between our countries and will open a new page in our cooperation. By the way, this is the first official visit of the President of Iraq to Azerbaijan throughout the history of our diplomatic relations. So this visit is historical. And we have covered many issues of our bilateral agenda during the tete-a-tete meeting and during the meeting with delegations, actually identified the main directions for our future cooperation. We will definitely continue to support each other in international institutions. Iraq and Azerbaijan in different international institutions always demonstrate solidarity in United Nations, in a non-aligned movement, in Islamic Cooperation Organization. We always support each other, always defend sovereignty and territorial integrity of each other. Mr. President will visit also neighboring Armenia. Therefore, I use this opportunity to inform my guests with respect to the current situation between two countries. Of course, to have a proper analysis of what is happening now, we all need to go back to our past, what happened in the beginning of the 90s. But in the beginning of the 90s, Armenia launched aggression against Azerbaijan, which ended in occupation of almost 20% of internationally recognized territory of Azerbaijan, conducted a policy of ethnic cleansing, which resulted in physical expulsion of more than 1 million Azerbaijanis from the territory of former Nagorno-Karabakh Autonomous Oblast and the surrounding districts. So that, as I said, made almost 20% of our territory. And for many years refused to return the territory which did not belong to them. Despite the different international mediation efforts, which actually resulted with zero result, Armenia wanted to keep our lands under occupation forever. So after 28 years since the OSCE Minsk group was established, which mandate was to find a solution to end the occupation, Azerbaijan liberated its international recognized territories itself. On the battlefield, using military force and using the legal opportunity which was granted to us by Article 51 of UN Charter, right for self-defense. We hope that after that, Armenia would comply with its obligations and withdraw the remaining part of the military contingent from Azerbaijani territory, but it didn't happen. We've been very patient for 3 years almost. We tried through our direct contacts with Armenia, through international interlocutors to deliver a message that this is unacceptable. We cannot afford to have an illegal separatist regime even at a small part of Azerbaijan. As I said, the large part of the occupied territories was liberated in 2020. But unfortunately, Armenian government did not listen to us. It listened to its advisors in the West. And those advisors did not, give them a good advice. Unfortunately, their advice was to keep the military contingent on our territory as long as they can. Our patience came to an end this September, and we conducted anti-terror operation fully in line with international law on our sovereign territory, which lasted less than 24 hours, and with zero casualties among civilians. And I think now what we see in the Middle East, this should be considered as an example how to conduct military operation with zero casualties among civilians. As a result of that, the illegal regime in Nagorno-Karabakh collapsed. And though it was illegal, but anyway, they themselves dissolved this illegal so-called entity, which they used to call Nagorno-Karabakh Republic. We restored our sovereignty, and now Azerbaijani flag is everywhere on our territory. So this is a history of situation. So now we come to what next. And next, of course, we expect, and I will inform Mr. President, from Armenia the response to our comments to the proposal. Several times we exchanged proposals on the draft of peace treaty, but now we're waiting for more than 2 months, since 11th September, for Armenian government to respond to us. What is their opinion on those comments? And we didn't get any answer. And I think, again, the reason for that, because they get bad advices, particularly from France. France is playing a very destructive role in the Southern Caucasus. Actually, Armenia became a puppet of French government now, and this can be a serious threat to regional stability. We don't need any war. We fought on our own territory and restored justice and international law, but Armenian government and political establishment thinks about revenge. And the wrong messages from French government actually creates illusions in Armenian government and maybe in public opinion that they can again launch a military aggression against Azerbaijan. Weaponizing Armenia, which France is proud of and publicly states, will not help Armenia if they decide to launch another war. The result will be the same. And no one will help them. Did France help them 3 years ago? No. Did they help them 2 months ago? No. What they can do here? Nothing. Armenia should plan their future based on their national interests, not on the ambitions of the countries which are situated far away from our region, especially countries with a bloody colonial past, and their colonial policy was primarily aimed at the Muslim population in different parts of the world. So I think that the sooner we get a response from Armenia with respect to our comments, the better. No international pressure can influence the will of Azerbaijani people and Azerbaijani government. Armenia now is using its diasporal institutions in different parts of the world in order to attack Azerbaijan everywhere, but the result will be zero for them. We are ready for peace, but for just peace, peace based on recognition of territorial integrity and sovereignty of both countries, peace based on common sense and historical justice. So I informed my colleagues about that so that it will be, I think, better to understand the real situation in the Southern Caucasus. Coming back to our bilateral ties, I'd like to say that we broadly covered the issue of economic cooperation. In 2 weeks' time, our delegation will visit Baghdad to hold a new round of meeting of Intergovernmental Commission. We have big plans how to enhance the level of mutual trade. We also discussed today issues related to cooperation in the energy area, and during the visit of our delegation next month, this issue also will be covered. We discussed opportunities of cooperation in the area of defense industry, tourism. Already we were informed today at the meeting with delegations that the first direct flight between our capitals already started, and in the coming weeks probably we'll have direct flights to Kirkuk, to Erbil, and to Basra. So we're expecting a large volume of tourism traveling in both directions, and of course we discussed what additional steps must be taken in order to have a visa facilitation. So I'm sure that the visit will have very good results. We once again reconfirmed the friendly relationship between our countries, and continuation of our dialogue, I'm sure, will lead to new good results, and our cooperation will strengthen. So once again, Mr. President, welcome, and thank you for being with us today.